The stars were cold witnesses to humanity's darkest hour. Earth hung in space, a blue jewel surrounded by the wreckage of its once proud fleet. Captain Daniel Wright stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, his eyes fixed on the main screen showing the approaching alien armada. "Status report," he said, his voice calm despite the weight pressing down on his shoulders. Lieutenant Emma Garcia looked up from her communications station. 27 alien warships have entered our solar system. Captain, they're maintaining formation and approaching at sublight speed. Wright nodded, his weathered face revealing nothing of the fear he felt inside. The Defiant was all that remained of Earth's defense fleet. One ship against 27. The odds were beyond impossible. "Any response to our hail?" he asked. "Yes, sir, the alien commander has agreed to speak with you." Wright straightened his uniform jacket. "Put them on screen." The image of Earth vanished, replaced by the alien face of High Commander Zex Toril. The being's gray skin stretched over a skull twice the size of a human's, with 4 yellow eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "Captain Wright of Earth," the alien said, its translator converting the clicks and whistles into English. "I am High Commander Zex Toril of the Galactic Conclave. We have destroyed your fleet. Your orbital defenses are crippled. You have 1 Earth rotation to surrender your planet and submit to our rule." Wright kept his expression neutral. "And if we refuse?" The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Look around you, human. Your civilization hangs by a thread. Your lone ship is all that stands between us and your world." Its 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "What can one ship do against our armada?" "That remains to be seen, Commander," Wright replied. "We will consider your terms and respond within the time you've given us." The alien's face disappeared from the screen, replaced once more by the image of Earth. Wright turned to his crew, all of them watching him with a mixture of fear and hope. "Garcia, get me a secure channel to Earth Defense Command." "Bennett, I need to know what that experimental system of yours can do." Chief Engineer Alan Bennett nodded, his gray beard and tired eyes making him look older than his 58 years. "I'll have a full report in 2 hours, Captain." Wright turned and left the bridge, heading for his ready room. The weight of humanity's survival pressed down on him with every step. At Earth's orbital defense station, a tense meeting was underway. The remaining military leaders and government officials had gathered to discuss the alien ultimatum. "We have to surrender," said a pale-faced man in a civilian suit. "They've destroyed our fleet. We can't fight them." General Frank Morris slammed his fist on the table. "Surrender means slavery or worse. We fight until the last human falls." Council Chairwoman Patricia Winters raised her hand for silence. "What we need is information. Lieutenant Garcia has been analyzing the alien communications. Perhaps she can offer some insight." All eyes turned to Emma Garcia as she stood. Despite the pressure, her voice remained steady. "The aliens are using a standard encryption protocol for their fleet communications, but they didn't expect us to break it so quickly. Based on the messages I've intercepted, they have no intention of honoring any surrender terms. They plan to strip Earth of resources and eliminate most of the human population." A heavy silence fell over the room. "What about the Defiant?" General Morris asked. "Wright is a good captain, but what can one ship do?" Lieutenant Garcia looked at the display showing the lone warship. "The Defiant isn't just any ship, Chief. Bennett has been installing experimental systems for the past 6 months. Systems that were deemed too dangerous for regular use." "What kind of systems?" Chairwoman Winters asked. "I don't have the technical details," Garcia replied. "But Captain, Wright believes they might give us a fighting chance." Deep in the engineering section of the Defiant, Chief Alan Bennett crawled through a narrow access tube, sweat dripping from his forehead as he made final adjustments to a cluster of glowing blue crystals. "Hand me the calibrator," he said to his assistant, a young engineer named Stan Kelly. Kelly passed him the tool. "Will this really work, Chief?" "The simulations were promising, but we've never tested it under real conditions." Bennett grunted as he made a minute adjustment. "It'll work because it has to. The theory is sound. These crystals can channel energy in ways we never thought possible." He backed out of the tube and wiped his hands on a rag. "If the captain can get us into position, We'll show those aliens something they've never seen before. His console beeped, showing an incoming message from the bridge. Bennett here. Chief, the captain wants your report now, came the voice of Lieutenant Nicole Howard from Tactical. On my way, Bennett replied, gathering his datapad. He turned to Kelly. Continue the calibration sequence. I need this system at 100% in the next hour. In his ready room, Captain Wright studied the schematics of the alien fleet. Their ships were arranged in a defensive formation designed to protect their flagship, a massive vessel at the center of their armada. If they could somehow target that ship. The door chimed. Enter. Chief Bennett walked in, looking tired but determined. I have the report you wanted, Captain. Wright gestured to a chair. Tell me we have something, Alan. Bennett placed his datapad on the desk, bringing up a holographic display of the Defiant. Sections of the ship glowed with an eerie blue light. This Helios array is at 93% efficiency. If we can get close enough to their flagship, we can pierce their shields with a concentrated energy beam, unlike anything they've ever encountered. And our own shields? Can they hold against their weapons? Bennett's expression grew grim. Not for long. We'll have one chance, maybe two, before their return fire overwhelms us. Wright nodded slowly. So it's a suicide mission. Not necessarily. I've also upgraded our maneuvering thrusters. We'll be faster, more agile than they expect. If Lieutenant Howard's targeting calculations are precise enough, we might be able to strike and withdraw before they can lock onto us. A message came through on Wright's console. The alien commander is hailing us again, Lieutenant Garcia reported from the bridge. I'll be right there. Wright stood and straightened his uniform again. Is the array ready for a demonstration, Chief? Bennett nodded. A small one, yes. Nothing that will reveal its full potential. Good. Let's show them that this lone warship still has teeth. On the bridge, the crew fell silent as Wright took his seat. On screen, Lieutenant Garcia. High Commander Zexteral appeared, its four eyes narrowed in what might have been contempt. Your time grows short, human. Have you decided to surrender? Wright leaned forward slightly. We have a counteroffer, Commander. Withdraw your fleet from our solar system, and we will consider this a diplomatic misunderstanding. A chorus of alien laughter echoed through the bridge. You amuse us, Captain, Zexteral said. One damaged vessel against our armada, and you speak of counteroffers? The alien commander leaned closer to the screen. Perhaps we will keep your ship intact after we bombard your world. A museum piece to remember human foolishness. Wright's face remained calm. Judge us not by our numbers, Commander, but by our resolve. The alien's laughter died away, replaced by a cold stare. You have 12 of your hours left. Use them wisely. The screen went black. Wright turned to his crew, each face showing determination despite their fear. Battle stations. He ordered. It's time to show them what one Earth ship can do. The emergency meeting of Earth's Defense Council was tense. Maps and diagrams covered the walls of the underground bunker, showing the alien fleet's position relative to Earth. Captain Wright stood before the gathered leaders, his face tired, but determined. This is suicide, Council Chairwoman Patricia Winters said, her voice sharp with stress. We should negotiate while we still can, save as many lives as possible. General Frank Morris shook his head. These aliens don't want peace. Lieutenant Garcia's intelligence confirms it. If we surrender, they'll still destroy us. Captain Wright activated a holographic display in the center of the table. That's why we need to act first, with the one advantage they don't expect us to have. The display showed the Defiant, small, sections of its hull highlighted in blue. What are we looking at, Captain? Asked Winters. Our only hope, Wright replied. For the past 6 months, Chief Engineer Bennett has been installing an experimental weapons system called the Helios Array. It was deemed too unstable for mass production. But we're out of options now. And this weapon can defeat 27 alien warships? General Morris looked skeptical. Not all of them, Wright admitted. But we don't need to defeat their entire fleet. We just need to cut off the head. He zoomed in on the alien flagship. High Commander Zextoral's ship is the control center for their entire operation. If we can cripple it, we might create enough confusion to force a retreat. Chairwoman Winter studied the display. Even if this works, Captain, it's still a suicide mission. Wright's face remained calm. Maybe, but it's the only plan we have. After a long silence, General Morris stood. I say we let Captain Wright try. Better to go down fighting than wait for the end. The vote was taken. 4 in favor, 3 against. Operation Firespeak was approved. Wright left the bunker with a heavy weight on his shoulders. The lives of everyone on Earth now depended on one ship and its untested weapon. On board the Defiant, Lieutenant Nicole Howard worked at her tactical station, running simulation after simulation. Each one ended the same way, with the Defiant destroyed. She rubbed her tired eyes and tried again, adjusting the approach vector slightly. Chief Bennett entered the tactical room carrying 2 cups of coffee. He placed one beside her. Any luck? He asked. Howard shook her head. Every simulation ends with us being blown apart before we can get close enough to their flagship. She took a drink of the coffee and grimaced at its bitterness. Their defensive screen is too tight. Bennett pulled up a chair. Show me the latest run. She played back the simulation. The tiny dot representing the Defiant approached the alien formation, only to be surrounded and destroyed by enemy fire. We need to think differently, Bennett said after a moment. They expect us to fight like we always have. But what if we change the rules? Howard looked at him curiously. What do you mean? Bennett manipulated the controls, modifying the Defiant's signature in the simulation. What if we don't look like a warship when we approach? What if we appear damaged, almost dead in space? A new idea sparked in Howard's mind. A wounded animal, not worth their concern. Exactly. They already think we're beaten. Let's use that against them. Howard began making adjustments to the simulation. Excitement building as a plan took shape. If we power down all non-essential systems, we could drift toward their formation. They might not see us as a threat until it's too late. The door opened, and Captain Wright entered. Please tell me you have something. Howard looked up, hope in her eyes for the first time in days. I think we do, sir. In her quarters, Lieutenant Emma Garcia worked on decrypting the latest batch of alien communications. Something about their transmission pattern bothered her. The messages between ships seemed too frequent, too dependent on the flagship for instructions. Her computer beeped, flagging a recurring signal pattern. She leaned forward, studying the data more closely. The alien fleet wasn't just communicating, they were constantly receiving command updates from the flagship. Without those updates, she grabbed her datapad and hurried toward the bridge. Lieutenant Howard stood in the ship's mess hall, staring out the viewport at Earth. She thought about her husband, John, working in one of the civilian settlements. That would be first to feel the aliens' wrath if Earth didn't surrender. They had argued before she left for this mission, neither knowing it might be their last conversation. Couldn't sleep either. She turned to see Captain Wright, a cup of tea in his hand. No, sir. Too much on my mind. Wright nodded, looking out at the blue planet. We all have someone down there we're fighting for. Howard hesitated, then asked the question that had been troubling her. Do you really think this will work, sir? Or are we just postponing the inevitable? Wright took a sip of his tea before answering. Throughout history, humanity has faced enemies who thought they had us beaten. The Romans, the Mongols, the Nazis, all believed their superior numbers or technology made them invincible. He turned to face her. But there's something they didn't count on, the same thing these aliens don't understand about us. What's that, sir? Humans are at their most dangerous when they have nothing left to lose. Wright's face showed a grim determination. Tomorrow we'll remind them of that fact. On the bridge of his flagship, High Commander Zextoral watched the holographic display of Earth's solar system. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of satisfaction among his kind. To me, humans have less than 1 rotation left, he said to his second-in-command. Have they shown any sign of preparing for surrender? Sub-Commander Vex checked the sensor readings. Their lone warship remains in orbit around their planet. No movement detected. Perhaps they planned some foolish last stand, Zextoril said with a clicking sound his species used to express amusement. It would be fitting for such a primitive race. Should we prepare for resistance? Vex asked. Zextoril made a dismissive gesture with one of his forearms. What can one damaged vessel do against our fleet? Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields, and their defenses will collapse under our first volley. As you say, Commander. Vex bowed slightly. Shall I prepare a broadcast to announce their defeat across the Conclave worlds? Yes. Zextoral's mouth parts formed what passed for a smile among his kind. Let all know of our victory and the addition of another world to our collection. As the deadline approached, Captain Wright gathered his senior officers on the bridge of the Defiant. Chief Bennett, Lieutenant Howard, Lieutenant Garcia, and the ship's doctor, Sam Mason, stood in a semicircle around him. Each of you knows your role, Wright said. This plan isn't just about fighting back. It's about showing these aliens that humans aren't as weak as they think we are. He looked at each officer in turn. Lieutenant Garcia's discovery about their command structure gives us an edge. If we can disrupt the flagship's control signals, even briefly, we might create enough confusion to get close. The Helios array is ready, Captain, Bennett reported. But remember, we'll only get one shot before they realize what we're doing. Wright nodded. Lieutenant Howard, is the approach vector plotted? Yes, sir. We'll appear to be drifting minimal power like a ship preparing to surrender. Dr. Mason, medical bay prepared for casualties. The doctor grimaced. As ready as we can be, Captain. Wright took a deep breath. Very well, take your stations. As they moved to their positions, Garcia paused beside Wright. Captain, the aliens are broadcasting again. They're mocking us across every frequency, telling the galaxy about the primitive, humans in their lone ship. Wright's eyes hardened. Let them talk. Soon enough, they'll learn what happens when you corner a human. He took his seat in the command chair and opened a shipwide channel. All hands prepare for departure. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone and everything we've left behind on Earth. He paused, looking at the determined faces of his bridge crew. It's time to show the galaxy what one ship and the humans who crew her can really do. Helm, he ordered. Break orbit. Take us to the enemy. The Defiant's engines glowed to life as the ship moved away from Earth, heading toward the waiting alien armada. The Defiant drifted through space, its engines barely glowing. From a distance, it looked damaged, almost dead, exactly as Lieutenant Howard had planned. Inside, the crew worked in near darkness, only emergency lighting casting red shadows across their faces. Status report, Captain Wright said quietly, as if the aliens might hear him through the vacuum of space. We're on course, reported the helmsman. All non-essential systems powered down. We're running on minimal life support. Lieutenant Garcia monitored the alien communications from her station. They see us, Captain. They're discussing our approach. She adjusted her earpiece. They think we're coming to surrender. Wright nodded, his face grim in the red light. Chief Bennett, status of the Helios array? Bennett's voice came through the comm system from engineering. Powered down but ready. We can bring it online in 30 seconds once you give the word. Good. Wright turned to Howard at the tactical station. And our weapons? Ready but cold, sir. As far as their sensors can tell, we're running on emergency power only, just enough for life support and minimal propulsion. Wright leaned back, in his chair, watching the main screen where the alien fleet grew larger by the minute. 27 warships arranged in a defensive formation around their flagship, each one larger and more powerful than the Defiant, each one capable of destroying Earth's last hope. Yet they had one advantage. The aliens believed they had already. On the bridge of his flagship, High Commander Zextoril watched the approaching human vessel with mild curiosity. They come to us rather than making us go to them, he observed. Perhaps they have some dignity after all. Subcommander Vex studied the sensor readings. Their ship appears damaged, Commander. Minimal power signatures. They can barely maintain life support. Did we cause this damage? Zextoril asked. No, Commander. It appears they were already damaged in previous battles. Zexteral made the clicking sound of amusement. So this is truly all they have left. One crippled ship, he gestured with one of his forearms. Send a small escort to intercept them. 3 ships should be more than enough. Have them bring the human vessel in. I want to examine their technology before we destroy it. Yes, Commander. 3 ships. Breaking formation, Garcia reported, tension evident in her voice despite her calm words. They're moving to intercept us. Wright straightened in his chair. As expected. Now we see if our plan works. He opened a channel to engineering. Bennett, stand by with the Helios array. Howard, prepare for emergency power restoration on my mark. Ready, Captain? Both officers replied. The 3 alien vessels approached, their sleek, dark shapes growing larger on the view screen. They moved with confidence, showing no fear of the lone human ship. They're hailing us, Garcia said. Wright nodded. Open a channel, but audio only. Let them think our visual systems are damaged too. Garcia pressed several controls, then nodded. To the captain. Human vessel, came an alien voice translated through the computer. This is Sublegate Vril of the Galactic Conclave. You will power down all remaining systems and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your immediate destruction. Wright glanced at Howard, who held up 3 fingers, then 2, then 1. Now, Wright ordered. Throughout the ship, systems that had appeared dead suddenly flared to life. Lights blazed, engines roared, and weapon systems came online with startling speed. Visual communications restored, Garcia announced, allowing the aliens to see the bridge of the Defiant for the first time. The alien commander's 4 eyes widened in surprise as Captain Wright appeared on his screen, not defeated and desperate, but calm and in control. This is Captain Daniel Wright of the USS Defiant, Wright said. We didn't come to surrender. Sublegate Vril stared at the human captain in confusion. The supposedly damaged ship was now fully powered, its systems functioning at levels that hadn't registered on their sensors. What is the meaning of this, he demanded. You are outnumbered and outgunned. You cannot hope to. His words were cut short as the human ship suddenly accelerated, moving with a speed and agility that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size. All ships, open fire, Vril ordered, but the Defiant was already changing course, evading the first volley of energy weapons with a series of quick, precise maneuvers. On the bridge of the Defiant, Wright gripped the arms of his command chair as the ship shuddered around him. Evasive pattern Delta, he ordered. Howard, target the lead escort vessel. Minimal power, just enough to get their attention. The Defiant spun on its axis, bringing its conventional weapons to bear on the nearest alien ship. A short burst of energy struck the alien vessel's outer shields, causing no damage but drawing all 3 escorts toward them. Exactly as planned. They're following us, Captain, the helmsman reported. All 3 escort ships in pursuit. Good. Take us on approach. Vector 2. Let's see if we can get a little closer to that flagship. The Defiant accelerated away from Earth, drawing the alien escorts farther from their main fleet. The 3 larger ships followed, confident in their superior firepower. Garcia, are you getting anything from their command frequencies? Wright asked. Lieutenant Garcia nodded, her fingers moving quickly over her console. Yes, sir. The flagship is ordering the escorts to capture us intact if possible. They still don't see us as a serious threat. Wright allowed himself a small smile. Perfect. Let's continue to play the wounded prey a little longer. High Commander Zexteral watched with growing irritation as the human ship led his escorts on a chase through space. What are they doing? He demanded. It's just one ship. Destroy it and be done. They appear to be testing our responses, Commander, Vex suggested. Perhaps assessing our capabilities before their surrender. Or buying time, Zexteral said, his irritation turning to concern. Could this be some sort of distraction? He checked the sensor readings of Earth again, but nothing had changed. No hidden fleet emerging from the far side of the planet. No secret weapon powering up. Just one ship, somehow evading 3 of his best vessels. Order the escorts to end this game, he commanded. I want that ship disabled now. They're changing formation, Howard reported. All 3 escorts are moving to surround us. Wright nodded. They're getting impatient. Good. He opened a channel to engineering. Bennett, status of the Helios array? Fully charged and ready, Captain. But remember, we'll only get one good shot before they realize what we're doing. Understood. Wright turned to Garcia. Distance to the flagship? Still too far for the Helios array to be effective, sir. We need to get closer. The ship shook as an alien energy beam glanced off their shields. Shields at 87%, Howard reported. That was just a warning shot. Wright considered his options. They couldn't fight 3 escorts and still have enough power for the main attack run. But if they surrendered now... Garcia, open a channel to the lead escort vessel. Channel open. Sir? Wright stood, straightening his uniform. This is Captain Wright of the Defiant. We wish to discuss terms. The alien commander, Sublegate Vril, appeared on screen. His 4 eyes narrowed in suspicion. There are no terms to discuss, human. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. We have valuable information about Earth's defenses, Wright said, his face revealing nothing of his true intentions. Information we will only share with your High Commander. Vril's eyes blinked in sequence as he considered this. You are in no position to make demands. It's not a demand, Wright replied, calmly. It's an offer. One your commander might find interesting. The alien stared at Wright for a long moment, then made a gesture of contempt. Your primitive attempts at deception are transparent, human. But it makes no difference. You will be brought before the High Commander regardless. The screen went dark. They're forming an escort formation around us, Howard reported. They plan to guide us directly to the flagship. Wright returned to his command chair, a hint of satisfaction in his. Tell all hands to prepare. The real battle is about to begin. Surrounded by 3 alien escort ships, the Defiant approached the heart of the enemy fleet. On the bridge, Captain Wright watched the massive alien flagship grow larger on the view screen. It was an impressive sight. A vessel nearly 20 times the size of the Defiant, with weapon ports dotting its dark hull like hungry eyes. Distance to target? Wright asked, his voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. 2,000 kilometers in closing, Lieutenant Howard replied from the tactical station. We'll be within optimal range for the Helios array in approximately 3 minutes. Wright nodded. Status of the escort vessels? They're maintaining position around us, 2 on our flanks, 1 trailing behind. Their weapons are powered but not targeted directly on us. They still think we're coming quietly, Wright observed. He opened a channel to engineering. Bennett, status? Chief Engineer Bennett's voice came through, strained but confident. Helios array at full charge, Captain. The containment field is holding, but I can't guarantee for how long. These crystals weren't meant to hold this much energy. Understood. Wright turned to Garcia at communications. Any change in their transmissions? She shook her head. They're discussing our arrival, sir. The High Commander is preparing for our interrogation. Her expression darkened at the last word. Wright stood, moving to stand behind Howard at the tactical station. Remember, we'll only get one shot at this. When I give the word, divert all power to the Helios array, including shields and life support, if necessary. Yes, sir. Targeting solutions locked on their command section. The ship continued its approach, now clearly visible to the entire alien fleet. On the main view screen, the flagship's details became clearer. Its strange architecture, a mixture of sharp angles and curved surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. 1,000 kilometers, Howard reported. 30 seconds to optimal firing range. Wright returned to his command chair. All hands, prepare for combat maneuvers. On board the alien flagship, High Commander Zexus Toral watched the approaching human vessel with growing curiosity. Such a small ship, he remarked to Subcommander Vex. It's hard to believe they once thought they could stand against us. The escort reports that the humans wish to provide information, Vex said. Some detail about their planetary defenses. Zex Toral made a dismissive gesture. It matters little. Their world will be ours within a rotation regardless of what they tell us. He leaned forward, his 4 eyes narrowing. Still, I find myself wondering what drove them to challenge us with such inferior technology. Perhaps they simply didn't know any better, Vex suggested. Perhaps. Zextoral stood. Prepare the interrogation chamber. I will speak with their captain myself before we destroy their ship. Commander, one of the sensor operators called out. I'm detecting an energy buildup in the human vessel. What kind of energy? Zextoral demanded, suddenly alert. Unknown, Commander. It doesn't match any weapon signature in our database. We've been scanned, Garcia reported urgently. They've detected the Helios array powering up. Wright's expression hardened. We're out of time. Howard, execute the attack pattern now. Lieutenant Howard's fingers flew across her tactical console. Executing attack pattern Alpha, all power diverted to the Helios array. Throughout the ship, lights dimmed as energy was channeled into the experimental weapon. In engineering, Chief Bennett watched anxiously as the blue crystals began to glow with an intensity that made it painful to look directly at them. On the bridge, Captain Wright opened a channel to the alien flagship. This is Captain Daniel Wright, of the USS Defiant, to High Commander Zextoral. You asked what one ship could do against your armada. We came to demonstrate. With those words, Howard activated the Helios array. The transformation was immediate and shocking. Sections of the Defiant's hull that had appeared to be simple armor plates suddenly shifted, revealing glowing blue emitters beneath. The small ship, dwarfed by the alien vessels surrounding it, now blazed with energy that seemed impossible for its size. On board the flagship, Zextoral's 4 eyes widened in alarm. Evasive maneuvers! All escorts, destroy that vessel now! But it was too late. The Defiant released a concentrated beam of energy so bright it appeared like a piece of the sun itself. The beam cut through space, striking the lead escort ship before its shields could fully power up. The alien vessel's protective barrier flared for a brief moment, then collapsed entirely as the energy overwhelmed it. The beam continued onward, not destroying the escort ship, but disabling its main systems in an instant. Lights across the alien vessel flickered and died, leaving it drifting helplessly in space. Targeting second escort, Howard announced, her voice tight with concentration. The Defiant pivoted with surprising speed, bringing its glowing emitters to bear on the next target. Again, the beam of concentrated solar energy lashed out, crippling rather than destroying the alien vessel. The third escort ship opened fire, its energy weapons striking the Defiant's weakened shields. The human ship shuddered under the impact, but maintained its position. Shields at 40%, Howard reported. One more hit like that and we're exposed. Wright nodded. Make the next shot count. Target the flagship's command section. Across the alien fleet, confusion spread like wildfire. The supposedly defeated humans had somehow disabled 2 escort vessels with a weapon unlike anything the Conclave had encountered before. What is happening? Zextoral demanded as alarms blared across his bridge. How can one ship do this? Unknown, Commander, Vex replied, his usual calm shaken. Their weapon appears to be targeting control systems rather than causing physical destruction. Order all vessels to open fire. Destroy that ship now. But even as he gave the command, Zextoral watched in horror as the human vessel turned toward his flagship, its hull glowing with that same terrible blue energy. Direct hit on the third escort, Howard announced. All 3 escort vessels disabled. Garcia looked up from her station. Sir, the rest of their fleet is moving to attack. We have maybe 30 seconds before they're in range. Wright nodded. It's now or never. Bennett, can the array handle one more shot, a big one? It's already over capacity, Captain. Bennett's voice came back, nearly drowned out by the sound of overloading systems. The containment field is failing. We fire now or we lose the weapon entirely. Understood. Wright's voice was calm despite the chaos. Target the flagship's command bridge. Fire when ready. Howard locked in the targeting solution. Firing now. For the 4th time the Helios array activated, but this time the beam was brighter, more focused as Bennett channeled every bit of remaining power into the weapon. The energy lanced across space, striking the alien flagship directly in its command section. The massive vessel's shields flared brilliantly against the onslaught. For a moment, It seemed they would hold. Then, with a flash visible across the entire battlefield, they collapsed. The beam cut through the flagship's hull, burning through layers of alien metal to reach the command bridge within. High Commander Zex Taral had one final moment of clarity as the human weapon breached his ship. One moment to understand how terribly he had underestimated these primitives. One moment to see his error in dismissing a species that could create such a weapon. The bridge exploded around him as systems overloaded and air rushed out into the vacuum of space. His last sight was of that small human ship, glowing like a star against the darkness. On the Defiant, alarms blared as systems began to fail throughout the ship. Helios array offline, Bennett reported. Containment field has collapsed. We won't be able to fire again. Shields failing, Howard added. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4. Wright watched as the alien flagship drifted, its command section a burning ruin. Already he could see confusion spreading through the alien fleet as vessels changed course randomly, some colliding with each other as their coordinated defense fell apart. We've cut off the head, Wright said quietly. Now let's see if the body dies. He turned to Garcia. Open a channel to all alien vessels. When she nodded, he spoke with the calm authority that had carried them this far. This is Captain Wright of the USS Defiant. Your commander is dead. Your flagship is crippled. This was one ship. Imagine what we could do with two. 2 days after the battle, the Defiant hung in space, its hull scarred but intact. Emergency repairs had sealed the breaches, though the Helios array was beyond recovery. Around it, the alien fleet remained in disarray. Some vessels had fled, while others simply drifted, awaiting orders that would never come. On the bridge, Captain Wright sat in his command chair, watching as a small alien shuttle approached. It carried representatives from the remaining warships, officers who had survived the destruction of their command structure and now sought to understand the humans who had defeated them. Are you sure about this, sir? Lieutenant Howard asked, standing at her tactical station. Letting them on board could be risky, Wright nodded. Sometimes winning the battle isn't enough. We need to win the peace that follows. The shuttle docked, and soon 4 alien officers were escorted to the Defiant's conference room. Captain Wright, along with Garcia, Howard, and Bennett, waited for them. The highest-ranking alien, Sub-Commander Vex, entered first. His 4 eyes scanned the room cautiously before focusing on Wright. Captain, he said, his translator converting his clicks and whistles to English. Your victory was unexpected. War often brings unexpected outcomes, Wright replied. Please sit. The aliens took their seats across from the humans. For a moment, silence filled the room. You could have destroyed our ships completely, Vex said finally. Yet you chose to disable rather than destroy. Why? Wright leaned forward. Because this doesn't have to end in extinction, yours or ours. There's another way forward. Chief, Bennett placed a small blue crystal on the table. This is what powered our weapon. We call it the Helios array. But it wasn't designed as a weapon at all. The aliens stared at the crystal with their 4 eyes blinking in sequence. It was created as an energy source, Bennett continued. Clean, renewable energy that could power cities without destroying environments. We only turned it into a weapon because we had no choice. Understanding dawned in Vex's alien features. You are offering us this technology? We are offering cooperation, Wright said. Your conclave valued our planet for its resources, but working together, we could develop resources that benefit both our peoples. Lieutenant Garcia activated a screen showing the modified blueprints of the Helios array. This technology could end resource wars across the galaxy. No more need to conquer worlds for what they contain. The aliens conferred among themselves, in their clicking language before Vex turned back to the humans. The Conclave has never considered humans as equals, he admitted. We saw you as primitives to be conquered. And now? Wright asked. Now we must reconsider. Vex's 4 eyes blinked in a pattern that suggested deep thought. Your one ship spoke with enough fire to change our understanding. 1 month later, Captain Wright stood in Earth's orbital station, looking out at the planet below. The scars of previous battles were visible from orbit, but already reconstruction had begun. In the distance, he could see alien vessels working alongside human ships, rebuilding what had been destroyed. Lieutenant Garcia joined him at the viewport. "The treaty negotiations have been completed, Captain. The Conclave has officially recognized Earth as a sovereign and equal member of the galactic community." Wright nodded, satisfaction evident in his expression. "And the technology exchange?" "Proceeding as planned. Chief Bennett is already working with alien engineers on the next generation of Helios technology. They're calling it the Peace Array now." A small smile crossed Wright's face. "From weapon to tool. That's progress." "Do you think they'll keep their word?" Garcia asked. "The Conclave has conquered many worlds before. They've never encountered humans before," Wright replied. "One ship taught them respect. Imagine what they'll learn from an entire planet of us." In the docking bay below, alien and human workers moved together, rebuilding what war had broken. The USS Defiant sat in its berth, its battle scars visible, but its presence a constant reminder of what humanity could accomplish when pushed to its limits. "They came expecting an easy victory," Wright said, watching the activity below. "Instead, they found a new ally. Sometimes the most important battles aren't won by how many ships you have, but by showing what a single ship, and the people aboard her, can truly do when defending what matters most." Garcia smiled. "They mocked Earth's lone warship, and it spoke in fire," Wright finished. "But the real victory wasn't in the fighting, it was in what came after." Together, they watched as a new chapter in human history unfolded below them. One where humans stood not as conquered subjects but as equals among the stars.